Now, a lot of people have no idea how deep this gang stalking goes. It goes as deep as our own system. See, Department of Defense has something, a terminology called joint targeting. And joint targeting is done through NGOs like Citizens Corps. Now, I'm making this video because I want people to understand the depths of community mobbing and gang stalking, which is perpetrated through our system. It's done to cause harm to an individual through a method of not touching them physically. It's a no-touch torture method, which is used by people that have experience in PSYOPs, or psychological warfare. It's being taught to Citizens Corps, neighborhood watch groups, even kids and people in universities and colleges in an effort to cause a person to deliberately lash out. So these people have been trained in human psychology and human behavior to know methods which will cause a human being to lash out in anger. So they use every method that would cause any rational or any normal human being to lash out. So notice that these people do not care about your civil liberties, your Constitution. It's garbage to them. A lot of these people have made an oath to defend America and protect our Constitution, but are not for the Constitution. So what's happened is these methods, these Stasi-type techniques are being passed down to corporations, NGOs, which are unlisted on any Department of Defense website, and they're being used. These organizations, NGOs, corporations are being used to conduct surveillance and security on behalf of the system. So that way it will not be linked to the system. The same thing for Citizens Corps. They are being ran by pretty much DHS, but they're categorized as a non-GO, a non-governmental organization. And there's a reason why. And when we look at all the directors, we find out that the huge majority of them are all secret society members, Freemasons. So I have nothing against them. But what I find strange is that when we look at the people being used, we find out that all these people are people that are not marginalized, that all have the right to make a livable wage, to get a mortgage, to rent, date. But then when we look at those that are marginalized, are women, we see that a lot of times the ones that are targeted have the potential, have the skills or degrees to live a normal life, but due to the psychological trauma and abuse they've experienced, they no longer care about the money. And that's the same thing for me. Due to all the psychological harassment and abuse, I no longer care about the money so much. I'm more concerned about my own well-being, my own state of mind. So these people do not take into account that their harassment poses a direct threat to our national security and to our community, and they do this persistently everywhere you go, with intent to cause harm to you. So, hold on one second, my cigarette turned out. So, they want to remove you any way possible through making you sick, to be institutionalized, incarcerated, or financially impoverished. So they're not interested in helping you out. They're not interested in your family's past, that maybe your grandfather has fought and served for this country and took bullets for this country. They're not interested in helping you get a skill which will allow you to live like a normal human being in America. They're not your friends, people. We are now devoted more to domestic terrorism than we are counterterrorism. And that's the problem, is that we've spent so many billions of dollars for FEMA, DHS, and other corporations that we're more interested in how we can target people and hurt people than help people. So this targeting can happen through your workforce development centers, through your schools, through the cooperation of DHS, FEMA, and the FBI. Now, it's quite interesting when we look at the articles that have been published from different reporters concerning statements from the FBI. They're always saying every year we're removing the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center from our databases, because they were using these databases to target people. The majority of these people were Republicans at one time. But now, thank God, we have a more conservative president, so now things are changing as people are able to change their manners and how they treat people. We were actually targeting veterans with ties to no groups just because of income levels, or maybe they were single, So we were targeting based on the probability of an event. So we have all this targeted case management. We have all these programs for like crime prevention that are based on computers, but it's all a bunch of bull crap. So in many cases it can't work. There's potential for it, but I don't believe we've reached that state yet at all, because only the Creator can determine the fate of a man, in my opinion. Some people say there's no such thing as predestination. Well, I believe in it. I believe that we're all predestined, so that God has a purpose for us. So I want to keep going about talking about this targeting. So this targeting is happening through NGOs, and these NGOs, what happens is that they're getting paid. They can't stop the targeting until you lose it. They don't consider the fact that you're a human being trying to live here, that wants to, rent, that wants to date, have sex, but because of all the cyber attacks, because of all the bullying in every area of the person's life, the person, some of these people lash out. Now, I have caught these people entering supermarkets, U.S. schools. I was living in one place where the same helicopter was going over my roof by 8 feet. I actually was able to measure the exact distance from a tree, because I used to climb this tree and take pictures of birds and stuff. So it was 8 feet over my house. One day I went for a drive 50 miles away from my house and seeing this same helicopter descending down to the same place that I was with. I was with a woman looking at the water, enjoying the sunset. They came down so low that little pebbles were flying towards me, and they were waving. That's when this was 50 miles from my house. They landed at a naval base on Panama City Beach. Then I started having encounters with people in black SUVs with the star logos, people that were Freemasons, neighborhood watch groups, Citizens Corps. I mean, it was just non-stop. Firefighters, EMS. So know that these movements are not about helping you to reintegrate back into society. They're not about helping you to rise above your current state, but it's all about how they can harm you, psychologically harm you as much as humanly possible. Now, some of these movements are based on research. They don't care what happens. They don't care if your kids are killed. They don't care if you're killed. They don't care if you've been harassed so much you lash out. And I want to encourage Americans to not do that. What happened with, like, Omar Martin, we have to realize that our intelligence agencies want to look at the person's past and blame past abusive relationships. But what these people do is they use police, and they also use police, and they also use people within the system, contractors. Now, Omar Martin was part of GS4, which is Department of Homeland Security's largest contractor. Now, we know that the Department of Homeland Security has a long history of human rights abuses, like what happened with Julia Davis. You know, the FBI, they have a history of abuse. Most of our terrorist attacks have happened because of from our own system. We give them the guns and the money to commit acts, and then we arrest them. And sometimes they fail, like, what's that one guy's name? Ting McVeigh, the Oklahoma bomber. You know, we accidentally gave him the wrong explosives. I mean, how can we mess up on something like that? It's so it makes no sense. So a lot of things are actually engineered. You actually engineer a lot of these different things, and then there's people that hide behind the flags. Oh, I didn't mean it. It was an accident. There's no accidents. We're in 2017. If we haven't figured out that community mobbing, targeting is not helping people, then we got a serious problem. We got a real serious problem. We got to have some type of mental deficiency. Maybe we got to give these people vitamin A, vitamin B, or D, because it's idiotic. And we're using tactics meant to be used on people that we're fighting against overseas. We're in America. We're not in China. You know, we're doing these tactics to people out here in these ghettos. My God, I've seen these kids out here that have stuff that should be put on a base in a museum, like a princess. I'm like, there's all types of stuff out here, and we're doing this to people that are non-threatening, non-combative, that don't have any weapons. Like in my case, I don't have weapons. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a part of no group. So we are actually using people also that are private investigators, large firms. There's one called Stratfor, or it's like STRAFOR. I can't even pronounce it. Stratfor. So anyway, there's so many different large corporations. They're being used by the FBI, DOD, surveillance workers, role players, and people abuse these programs, especially FBI contractors. They severely abuse these programs. We even have operations being conducted by clandestine agencies here in our communities on U.S. soil, thanks to these fusion centers. So there's a tremendous amount of abuses occurring in our country that we need to be mindful of and realize that people are just human beings. People just want to wake up and, be able to eat, put gas in their car, go to work, live harassment-free lives. Now, Citizens Corps, what they do is they deliberately try to harass people. Now, if you look at my video called Gang Stalking in America, you will see black and white cars. I can find them nowhere else in this county besides the local police. I've recorded videos that are coming out of the Citizens Corps building, and I've gone to school where people are coming in black shirts, shaking my hands, or teachers, going along with this program. Black and white cars parked only next to me at school. This is everywhere I'm going. This is systematic. I'm being systematically harassed and provoked. So what we do is we systematically provoke people. We're engineering terrorism in our own country. We need to speak against it, people. Now, I'm a good person, but they're doing this to people that are dangerous. The best thing we can do is just block them away. But force people to lash out because they want to go to school and get an education so they can leave this country. So, if I really wanted to remove Citizens Corps at a meeting, that could be taken care of real easily. But I'm a nonviolent person. I don't believe in removing national security threats from my country because I'm not paid for it. That's our national security agency's right to remove these people, not mine. I don't get paid to stand for dignity or indignity. But they do pose an extreme threat to the United States government and our national security agencies. If they had any idea of the things that I've recorded, they would be telling them to please stop committing acts of terrorism against our government. So I'm a nonviolent person. I believe in peace. I believe in love. I've known for years, and when I mean years, over a decade, I know that the sheriffs, the police, I know a lot of what these idiots do. I've paid people to hack, get cell phone records, go through trash. I know what bases some of these people come from, what contractors. So this movement is occurring more than ever all across America due to mass funding. We're giving millions, if billions, to police, law enforcement, DHS. So all this harassment is being outsourced from your block watch captains, local police. It goes all the way down to DOD. A lot of times even your lieutenant governor, state governor, which direct these fusion centers. And a person can literally be mobbed once they move into a city the same day. That's how coordinated these programs are. It's done to have an impact on all areas of your life, from your sleep, your sexual life, your social life. I mean everything. Even from doctor's appointments, eating out with family. I've gone to places to spend $100 on a piece of steak, and no one's wearing a jacket. And I just made a report to the police to being followed around by people wearing jackets. So then I record these people coming in wearing jackets and earphones in both ears like Citizens Corps. They do this to provoke a response. They're not about helping Americans. They're interested in harming Americans. Now, we've seen what happened to the guy Omar Mateen, the Pulse nightclub shooter. And he was being harassed. And what we did was to cover up what really happened. We blamed his past and all this stuff, his childhood. But the truth is that many people have a bad childhood. Many people have made numerous mistakes or have anger issues. The average American is on medication right now. I'd say probably over 54% of Americans are taking some type of medication. They have an issue. Our country is full of issues. People are suffering. They're unhappy. And they mask it behind a nice car, a nice house, and pretending they have a normal life, but really they're in a crap load of debt. So this guy was being demasculinized and dehumanized at work because he was a Muslim. Now, Florida is perhaps the most racist state on the face of the earth. They have over 1 million people that are disenfranchised, they can't rent, they got 2 or 3 kids, they're denied housing, and the state governor won't give them their rights back. when they give you letters like I have when they said, we're going to give you your rights back. I made mistakes when I was like a kid, you know, with checks, living in an area where they're paying grown men $7.50 to rent. And hey, I made some mistakes. I paid my price. I'm a good person. I'm not a rapist, a drug dealer, a child molester. Matter of fact, if someone was to watch me for 10 years, they would see that I haven't had a guest come over in 10 years, or a phone call really, unless someone wants to sell me something. So I go to schools to improve my life, to be harassed so I can leave and experience the freedom that my grandfathers wanted me to have. So this targeting is real, and we have to realize that these liberal organizations, they're nothing more than people that want to destroy family values. Liberal is nothing more than someone that wants to destroy traditional values. That's really what it is. And I laugh when I see these people. I love gay people, I love everyone, but I don't like fake people. They try to act like they're against liberals, but liberals really nothing more than anyone that's against traditional family values. Really what it is, in my eyes. Traditional family values, traditional values. So it's okay if they want to play that role, but just be real, you know. So I'm not speaking bad about no one. I'm not a racist. I don't hate no one. But when we look at the ADL and their history, the Southern Poverty Law Center, they get money to promote all types of crazy things. They label, speak bad about our president, Alex Jones, even my lieutenant governor in Texas. They categorize Oath Keepers as anti-government when it's ran by nothing more than police, fire, and EMS. You know, so they want to speak bad about every single person that is against this liberal movement of destroying America. Now, if anyone wants to harm me, the best thing you can do for me is give me a one-way plane ticket out of here, because I'm pretty sure with the skills that I have, any government will give me a chance. So my only problem is dealing with these people, these anti-Americans, which want to destroy my life. They actually move into my apartments. I have videos. I know what police departments they work for. I'm just not concerned about it. If I really wanted to sue the city of Texas, I would, but I heard they got a cap of like $300,000. I just I kind of like it here. I gotta live here, and I don't want to keep going through this crap. $300,000 is not worth being harassed nonstop and possibly having to fight it out in court for a couple years. I don't like going through this crap. So it's just not worth it. So now things are kind of toning down, but I had it every time where I was going out. I mean every time, it was every day. I would go to one place and I would notice people coming in, large amounts wearing black clothes, curly earpieces. It was different groups. I actually looked and I could actually trace that I was being targeted at times by 3 to 4 groups, and none of them knew each other. That's how bad this targeting is. So we have joint targeting going on. We have community mobbing, neighborhood watch, and these programs are being abused at times. We have secret societies actually getting involved in this community engagement. Now, it's vital that those that are being targeted try to get a sense of peace of mind. If you know you're being harassed every time you go watch a movie, or you're going to a social event being threatened to not come back there before you even get there, know that you're dealing with people that most likely are involved in our system. Now, the Romans called the system the sewer for a reason. I don't believe our system is a sewer, but we have some sewer-type elements. And unfortunately, these programs are being abused. Now, I have been talking a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video, but it's not over with. I'm going to add some clips that actually help people to understand this movement and how targeting is occurring, through showing little clips, which are going to be from the Department of Defense and other things, so that way people can see that targeting does occur, and that it is occurring through NGOs like Citizens Corps and other agencies. Thank you for listening, and just say no to domestic terrorism, and God bless.